everyone. Thanks so much for dialing into Facebook Live. It's great to have you on the call. You know, we've been talking about the 10 steps to greatness, and today we're going to talk about step 3, and it's all around the subject of love and how that fits in with study. But before we go into that, I'd love to my colleague just to say hello. I'm so happy to have Camilo with me today. Camilo, please say hello.
Thank you very much, Sil. I'm very excited to be here. The topic for today, it's going to be wonderful about the study and love. So yeah, I'm looking forward for the topic. And another thing that I want to mention is that we are also sharing a worksheet connected to this topic. So if you want to get the worksheet, just write in the comments study, and we are going to send that to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So let's talk about what you want in the area of love. Boy, that is a vast subject. Don't you agree? So the first thing you want is, when it comes to love and study and how they fit together, is you want to be able to love yourself. And the reason why you want to be able to love yourself is so you can love others and also relate better. And the way love comes in, and some of this is going to seem like such common sense. When you love yourself, there's a lot of closeness, not distance. When you love others, you feel close to, not distance, right? And you tend to know versus having a lot of not know or ignorance in the area. So what you want is, you want to be able to love yourself, love others, have a lot of closeness. And with that, that's how you get closer to your dreams. And some of you may say, hey, I don't know what my dreams are. That's okay. Because if you don't know what your dreams are, I guarantee you probably know or have some kind of idea of what your wants are, because knowing a little bit about what you want will get you closer and closer and more love to maybe the overall dream. So with that, the first thing we're going to talk about today is how study affects you and the amount of love you have for yourself and others. And Camilo has a great story to talk about this. So Camilo, tell us about the first main point here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sil. So yeah, as I was preparing for this moment from this event, I was really learning about the study. And one of the purpose of a study is to be at one with your dreams. Why? Because the more that you get to know your dreams and you start really moving forward to getting them, you need to study. And that study is learning all about that dream. So one story that I have connected to that is, I remember when I was 15 years old. Yeah, one day one aunt just told me, okay, I put you in dance lessons and we are going to start next Saturday. So I was like, why? But yes, I was like trying to figure out, okay, I accepted. It was once per week. I thought that I already knew how to dance because I have been doing it for some years, and it's very common in my native country, Colombia. So yeah, you already know some dancing steps and everything. So yeah, so I started going to the classes. I was thinking, okay, maybe I don't like this. I don't need it. But then as I started practicing and studying like the dancing steps, I started having like more contact with the area. Like, okay, every Saturday I was like trying new steps. I started really loving it because it was like, okay, I was becoming more competent. I could see how my skill was improving. I also started to go to the dancing floor with my friends and showing new steps. And they were like, wow, where did you learn that? And yes, I started really studying the area, and that really makes a lot of change and also like a difference for my dancing ability. And yeah, what I learned from that is that sometimes maybe you may say, okay, I'm not interested. I already know all about that. And you start like putting all these barriers. But when you really start studying the area and practice it, you get to the next step, which is you start seeing it more connected to you. And that really improves your love that you have for yourself in the area, because it's like you feel that your competence and you can show
Totally.
it. So I really enjoyed at the end. I stayed for, I don't know, it was almost 2 years in that dancing class, and I learned a lot
Really.
of steps. Yeah, that was a nice experience. And in the end, I really used that in my life. For the rest of my life, I still dance. And so, yeah, that was great. So thank you very much, Sil, for this.
Yeah, you're so funny because I want you all to know, here's a secret about Camilo. He is a wonderful dancer. I learned that on one of the first courses that we ever taught, and I met him in person. And we always start off the course with clapping and all that. And I was like, wow, that guy can dance. So that's a secret about Camilo. I always tell him, get on the table and dance when we start off our courses because people will love it. So okay, so the next step is, what is love anyway? And, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit of this, but we're also going to put the definition by Alan on the website so you guys can see this as well. But love is, it requires you to be close to something, like Camilla was talking about in his example. And when you have a lot of distance from something, the opposite from love is hate, right? So when you don't like something, um, like math for me, you tend to hate it, right? Or at least not like it. And if you're passionately disliking it, you're probably hating it. So, but the thing that I don't like about it is I don't understand it. So it's not necessarily math. It's really, I don't understand how to actually do certain formulas in math. So it's that lack of understanding that I'm really, really not liking. But anyway, I still don't like math. But when I start to understand how things work mathematically, I actually kind of fall in love with it. Why? Because I'm very close to it. So total love can be defined as being able to basically have a perfect image. And I love the way Alan describes it. He says three-dimensional. And the reason why we say three-dimensional is because the more clear that image is, the more dimensions there is in that image. Basically, there's more depth and there's more closeness, because you're able to be at one with all the pieces. And that's what creates being able to be at one with someone or something. When I look at being at one with someone, I'm able to understand everything they are sharing with me, their viewpoints, being able to put myself in their shoes. There's no right or wrong or no good or bad. I can just see their viewpoints, accept them. Doesn't mean I agree, but I'm able to be at one with it. And the same thing with if you're studying a subject. So let me give you an example how one day I was working with Alan and I was on my way back to Dallas, and I was still working in corporate America in my insurance job. And there was one piece of my job that I absolutely loved it. I was just really great at it. I didn't know how great I was at that time, but now looking back, I had a lot of skills in that area that I loved. Some of those skills I took for granted, but after working with Alan, I found out how valuable they are. So, but there was one piece that I hated passionately. Oh my gosh, I so hated it. So, as I was leaving, because I didn't want to go back, I loved what I was doing part-time, but I still needed to earn a great living. And I was in the job, by the way, making more money than I'd ever dreamed possible. Okay. I was in a job with a company making the most money I had ever made in my life. And I never dreamed I'd have the position that I had. So, a lot of great things about that job. So Alan looked at me. He knew I didn't want to go back. And he said, you know, you could always decide to like it. And I just stopped dead in my tracks. And I looked at him and I said, oh, okay. So I just changed my viewpoint and decided I was going to like that job. And I went on back to Dallas and my week was much better. And then there was one other thing that he did for me at a separate time. When we were talking about the thing that I didn't like, that I hated, it had to do with something I was not good in. And that was formatting a document that was about 18 pages. Okay. I was not good at it. If you changed anything, it would wrap the data around on the next page and it would cut it off, or maybe have 3 sentences, then you had to reformat everything. And I should have taken a course, but anyway, that was not in my mind at that moment. So, but anyway, I hated that. So he did something so clever, I will never forget. He said, how much do you earn a year? I said, including my bonuses. And he said, yeah, how much do you earn a year? And I told him, how many hours a week do you work? I work more than 40, but anyway, he did the math on that. He could do it in his head like in 30 seconds. He said, how many hours does it take you to type that document? And I told him. He said, okay, so so basically they pay you about $550 to type that document. And I said, really? He said, yeah. Well, guess what? I started liking that document because I looked at, what does $550 buy me? Oh my gosh. It bought me a lot. This was back in the early 2000s. And at that time I was investing a lot in personal development. And so I started calculating how much that money, how many courses that bought, or how many one-on-one sessions that bought. So, and it was giving me a lot of things that I loved and that I wanted more of. So that changed my viewpoint. I would tell you, I got so grateful because once I knew, which is part of love, how much that was worth and how I got really close to it. I even got better at the document. My frustration went down a lot. I wasn't perfect, still should have taken a class, but I say that because I got really grateful and I looked at the amount of money they were paying me annually and all the things by having that job, what it gave me in return and what it afforded me, what kind of lifestyle it gave me, what type of environment I had. I mean, I just got so grateful, but there was some information that I was missing. And so that distance that I had and that lack of closeness that I had for that one section in my job, that gap was closed and it brought me closer to it. And I even got to where I liked it. I went from hating that piece to where I liked it. I won't say I ever got to the love, but I liked it a lot more. And there was a lot that I was grateful for. So one of the forms when I was studying this today, a form of hate is like being ignorant of something or not knowing, right? And it's funny, it's kind of like when we started off on this topic, if you have a lot of distance between you and that thing or that someone you're trying to love or get in more harmony with, there's probably some things you need to know and some ignorance that you have about the area. So finding those pieces closes that gap and creates more love in your life. So Camilo, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
Yes, thank you very much. See, I really love how you created that closeness with that topic, and we can really extend that to topics, to people. If we are having problems with something, okay, try to find how can I be closer to it. In a sense, sometimes it's just a change in the point of view. So yeah, that's what I want to mention, and also just to remember that if we have a worksheet connected to this, or if you want to have it, just comment in the comments study, and we will send that to you back.
Thank you. So for the full definition of love, and this is probably my most favorite definition of all the words in Allen's Knowledgeism Dictionary. I love it. And it is the best definition I have ever read of love. It's that highest quality of spiritual recognition that observes and respects and admires and validates those spiritual qualities, assets, and capabilities of another and others, and oneself as spiritual beings. And you know, there's a wonderful, wonderful quote. I cannot pronounce his name. He is a French philosopher, and you can Google this if you want and find out his name. Please forgive me. So it goes with this, and it says, we are not human beings, goes something like this. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So that quote goes right along with Allen's definition of love. And remember that when you reach out and touch your friends and your families, or even the people you don't know and you just make eye contact with and say hello to, remember what love is. And Camilo is going to post this definition for you guys on the website as well. So with that, thank you so much for joining in, and we wish you a lot of love and closeness to other people